Guam's first and only lifetime limited powertrain warranty. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Ahead on prime time, target testing in the northern part of the island is set to begin after assessments were conducted today. Plus, over 100 people turn out for a rally this morning, urging more support for local businesses during this unprecedented time. And a 50-year-old man is the island's 61st COVID-related death since mid-March.
Hafa and good evening, everyone. In a special address today, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero gave an update on the government's response to COVID-19. She says despite increased testing and contact tracers, winning the war on COVID requires that we fight the battle at its source. And the source, according to the numbers, is northern Guam.
Data tells us that multi-generational homes, especially in the north, are most vulnerable to infection. For this reason, public health is executing enhanced community testing, prioritizing communities and regions that have the highest frequency of positive cases. Additionally, we are working with the mayors and leaders of these communities, with their elders and churches to help keep themselves and their families safe from COVID-19.
The governor says that although every resource is being used to fight the war to slow and stop the spread, the ultimate solution, she says, is you, your choices, your commitment, and your tireless vigilance. And you may have seen the alarming message circulating on social media detailing immediate plans to mobilize the Rapid Engagement Team. Public Health and the Physicians Advisory Group confirm target testing will begin in the northern region of the island this week. As Adriana Cotero reports, an initial assessment was conducted today in Jigo.
What we're doing is active case finding, and normally when you do active case finding, you're going into the community.
Going into the village of Jigo and starting with the Gilbaza subdivision. The government is taking an aggressive approach to target testing and has activated their Rapid Engagement Team. It was announced in a message circulating social media from a recent cabinet meeting regarding COVID-19 that the highest infection areas include Dededo and Jigo, with 53 of 69 positive cases from the northern region. Public Health's containment lead, Chima Mbakwe.
We're going in today for the first initial assessment. You know, we need to really understand where we're going, what is in place. You know, it will help us, go back and look at our plan one more time before we engage tomorrow, because that engagement is going to be a one-time engagement in a community that we really feel that would need the help that public health would provide.
Also in that message, recent data presents the Chuukese community infection rate is 300% higher than others. The next highest being Caucasian Military Federal Civil Service. Tracking the Philippine community highest in deaths, and the next highest being the FSM community. Although according to Chima, it's not just about the numbers.
What is driving these numbers? What do we do to actively correct it? Maybe the FSM community is testing more. Maybe the military community is testing more. The ones with the low numbers are not testing enough.
But something they are counting by the numbers is the many infections stemming from multi-generational homes, according to Chairman of the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group, or PAG, Dr. Hao Wen.
Often we have a positive patient in the clinic, and then when you do through the interview, in the brief interview in the clinic, they live in a house of 10, 15 people. It's a big concern because you go from one positive, now you have at least 7, 8, 9, or 10 positive.
The detailed plan for the target testing includes going house to house to test everyone. Today, the team, which includes DPHSS, DPW, Jigo Mayor Rudy Mantanani, and leaders from the FSM community, are performing an initial assessment at the Jigo gym. DPHSS Public Information Officer, Janella Carrera.
We're going to go out and look at the area, make sure that we're able to actually go in and set up our canopies, set up our mobile lab, ensure that we have space there available. And that's what we're doing today.
Both Public Health and the PAG expresses this is the appropriate action to take as infection rates remain consistent.
Coming together with the community to work as one.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
More than 100 participants showed up for a motorcade and rally today, sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. Organizers wanted to send a message to local leaders about the many struggling local businesses that are clamoring for more support. Chamber President Kathy Castro.
It's estimated that we had about 130 cars participate this morning. And so it was a great gathering of folks who were excited to be a part of this solidarity movement.
The motorcade began at the Guam Premier Outlet's parking lot in Tamuning, then headed past the governor's office at Adelup and finally to the Guam Congress building, where about 100 from the motorcade took part in a peaceful social distance rally.
The only thing I was a little bit disappointed about was the legislature did not come out to say hello or to greet us, but that's okay. We'll continue to push our agenda.
And that agenda is mainly to lift the shutdown and reopen the economy sooner rather than later, before more local small businesses shut down and more employees are laid off. Castro believes the message has been sent.
The chamber is part of the PAC, and we have been pushing PAC initiatives. So we're asking everybody to go out and vote, and let's see what happens after November 3rd.
The PAC she's talking about is the Action PAC, a political action committee organized by the various chambers of commerce who are endorsing a slate of candidates that support various initiatives, including a smaller government and a rollback of the business privilege tax. Wear your mask and keep your distance. We've been reminded of this many times over, but it seems that message didn't get through to patrons of a certain local restaurant recently. Here's more.
There was a video circulating and some pictures circulating of McCrout's, crowded restaurant, indoors and outdoors.
Over the weekend, a video of McCrout's restaurant in Malolo went viral, and not in a good way. The video showed a large gathering of customers clearly violating the mandated COVID guidelines. Patrons of the establishment were seen in close proximity to one another with no face masks in sight. Public Health PIO, Janella Carrera.
I know there was a video circulating and some pictures circulating of McCrout's, crowded restaurant, indoors and outdoors. So GPD did go out to McCrout's, and our team also did respond as well. We did issue a citation. Some violations were observed, and we did speak with the owner of McCrout's and noted those violations to him. Some of the violations were corrected on the spot, and some we gave him 24 hours to correct others.
On top of violating safety protocols, Carrera says Public Health also conducted a standard health inspection, resulting in a B rating. Carrera adds the following day, yet another complaint was made.
This complaint was another large crowded gathering indoors and outdoors as well. However, when public went out to visit, that was unsubstantiated, at least during the visit, Public Health's visit. Health did note that McCrout's did not have an organization-specific plan that was submitted, so they were given 24 hours to submit that organization-specific plan.
Carrera says the restaurant wasn't shut down.
They were not shut down, but they were, advised and admonished to follow the rules. During the first visit, I know the owner did note that he will follow the appropriate signage, display of signage, and noted that he will, tell his patrons to wear masks, and will stop allowing patrons to dine inside of the restaurant.
With indoor dining services prohibited for months and standard COVID guidelines implemented since the beginning of the pandemic, some may say that there's no way the restaurant owner was unaware of the guidelines, and that a citation and a reminder of the rules is nothing more than a slap on the wrist. But Carrera doesn't think so.
Call it a slap on the wrist. I mean, we did go out. GPD did go out. We issued the citation. We noted the violations. We admonished him, and from what we can see, he is not allowing that to occur anymore.
According to Carrera, Public Health will be keeping tabs on the situation.
Monitoring, we're ensuring that this is not going to occur. And we cited him a second time because he didn't submit his organization-specific plan. And so we're keeping an eye on this.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Peter Santos.
Now to the numbers. The island recorded its 61st COVID-19 related fatality on Tuesday. The Joint Information Center says the patient was a 50-year-old man with underlying health conditions compounded by COVID-19. He passed away at the Guam Memorial Hospital, where he was admitted on October 10th and tested positive upon admission. Once again, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero offers her heartfelt condolences and sympathy, saying, "With each announcement, my heart gets heavier with emotion. We must remember that our actions not only affect us, but those around us. Continue to practice the necessary precautions to keep our island community safe from this terrible virus." As for the other numbers, out of 678 samples from various labs, a total of 96 returned positive. This brings Guam's overall COVID case count to 3,266 infected since March. 1,105 cases are active, while more than 2,100 island residents have recovered, and there have been a total, as we said, of 61 deaths. The Guam Memorial Hospital reports there are currently 57 COVID patients hospitalized, 12 currently under the ICU level of care, 4 needing ventilator support. According to Hospital Administrator Lillian Posadas, there have been a total of 13 transfers to the skilled nursing facility in Vergara Heights. Of the 13, some patients have been discharged home and others to the government ISOFAC. Currently, 7 patients remain at the SNF. Posada says they are currently in talks with public health nursing leadership about the assignment of GDOE nurses to GMH. She expects to finalize the assignments at the end of this week. And the Department of Administration announced it's now ready to start accepting claims from family members of those who died in Guam from COVID-19. Governor Leon Guerrero established a COVID-19 Bereavement Assistance Fund that pays families a one-time $10,000 grant. In a news release, the governor said too many individuals are facing both the incredible loss and the incredible financial burden associated with losing their loved ones. She adds that it was the least she could do to help families who are in mourning. For more information and for documents, check the DOA website or call the benefits section at 475-1103. DOA says it expects to disperse funds within 5 days of a fully completed claim. Catholic Social Services Executive Director Diana Calvo says a total of 9 people housed at the homeless shelter at Global Dorms have tested positive for COVID. Out of the 9, 5 are children ranging between the ages of 2 to 10. Calvo says the individuals were transferred to the GovGuam isolation facility. She adds they were part of 4 different households, but they're all related. Upon admission into Global Dorms, Calvo says clients are subject to a 14-day quarantine. However, after the 14 days, they are free to leave the facility to go to work and appointments. In terms of safety protocols, since the island has been in PCOR 1, Calvo says clients are not allowed to congregate in the common areas and visitations are not allowed, though clients are allowed to have friends and family drop supplies, but they can't enter the facility. CSS cannot confirm exactly how COVID was spread at Global Dorms, but assures the community that they are taking extra safety protocols. Employees are required to wear face shields at all times, take temperature checks upon entering, and high-touch areas are sanitized every 30 minutes. Calvo says that no employees at CSS have tested positive for the virus. However, they did have an employee quarantined after possible exposure as a precaution. And local nonprofit organization Micronesian Resource Center One Stop received word Tuesday that staff members have tested positive for COVID-19. In a message posted on their Facebook page, they announced that the center was closed immediately upon learning of the first positive result, and staff began 14-day self-quarantine. They will continue to provide limited services remotely until all safety measures and sanitization is complete at their Harmon office, and once the team finishes their self-quarantine. The center, which is part of Manielu, asks that if you know or anyone you know received in-person services between September 28th and August 6th at their office and has yet to receive a call from their team, please contact them at 686-2227. The team will be available to provide language services to any clients who need assistance when contacting DPHSS. The Jigo Mayor's office has been closed until further notice because of a staff member's exposure to a confirmed case of COVID. The mayor's office is working closely with public health to ensure staff are tested and cleared before returning to work. Officials add there will be no interruption in meal delivery services for Manamco. Separately, another GDOE employee tested positive for COVID. The individual from George Washington High School was identified through contact tracing. And a Department of Corrections officer's family member has tested positive for COVID-19, and for safety purposes, the Mangilaw facility has suspended incoming drop-offs. It was just a couple of days ago when DOC allowed incoming for 2 weeks. It's now on a temporary pause until 10 officers' test results return back negative. DOC spokesman Major Antone Uggan.
Section, they're assisting with the incoming, so we have to suspend the operation for now until we make sure they get back. The main officer yesterday that we were concerned about, his test came back last night. He reported last night that he was actually negative.
Okay.
His test came back negative. So he was the main one we were concerned about because it was his family member. But he so far is negative, and several officers that were with him are also negative. So we're confident that, that the remaining will also be negative. But again, it takes time with this virus. So you just got to give it a few more days just to be sure.
Prior to this week, it had been nearly 3 months since the inmates and detainees received any incoming drop-offs. And right before news time, AdLoop announced a transfer of $17 million to the Government of Guam Retirement Fund, so 2020 cost of living adjustment payments can be made this week. The government provided these funds 2 weeks earlier than legally required to help its retirees, many of whom live on a fixed income and provide for their children, grandchildren, that is, and other dependents. Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
It's napkins for foreheads now, kind of spicy. This came from McDonald's, kind of spicy. Because our spicy chicken McNuggets, breaded in tempura and made with cayenne, are just the right amount of spicy. Unless you remember what I said about the sauce. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Guam is pleased to announce the grand opening on October 10 at Suite 727 of the Guam International Trade Center. The event marks the 109th National Day of the Republic of China, Taiwan, known as Double 10 Day.
We are in the middle of the most serious health crisis of our lives, and it affects everything from jobs to schools to the way we live. In addition to worrying about recovery, we must now worry about health care. And we shouldn't have to make choices between food and medicine, going to the doctor, or buying gas. We all need access to health care, and now, more than ever, we need hospitals and clinics which can respond to pandemics. We must get the vaccines and new treatments for COVID-19. We must be ready with ventilators and partnerships with the federal government for our emergency facilities and have pandemic plans which provide a secure safety net. We must be ready for the next crisis. And this takes a leader in Washington who is trustworthy and will work with local leaders and experts. This is why I am running for Congress. I humbly ask you for your vote. Si Tuus Maasi, maraming salamat po. I'm Robert Underwood, and I approve this message.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Welcome back. Discussions are underway to create a framework for the return to classrooms. GDOE is activating the reopening planning team. Superintendent John Fernandez says based on the reopening dashboard, face-to-face learning may not be possible until the new year. Fernandez making it clear on the link this morning that at this point there's no evidence the online platform can replace class instruction. He adds, what we're doing right now with distance learning is trying to cope with the pandemic. The goal remains to return back to the classroom safely.
The community risk factors that are out there, the number of new cases, the positivity rate, all of those indicators are in the highest risk categories right now. And so that's just where we are. And if we end up being in that same environment in January, it's going to be very difficult to return to face and to assure everybody that we'll be safe.
Fernandez says in the meantime, the department is focusing on mitigation efforts. This includes purchasing necessary PPE materials to prepare for a reopening. GDOE also plans to send out rapid response surveys to monitor stakeholder viewpoints. Earlier this week, we heard of parents' complaints over GDOE's hard copy instructional model. The parent even threatened to take legal action against GDOE for failing to grade her child's assignments and affecting the student's first quarter report card. Here's Fernandez again with his reaction.
The message that we have to our employees and our schools is, you know what, let's be as accommodating as possible right now for all the families, because we know we're making this shift and transition and things just aren't going to operate like they did last year. So over the last couple of weeks, we've been working with our schools, elementary, middle, and high, on grading and attendance policy for the first quarter so that we can communicate that out to the public. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end and the decision will be made, at the board meeting. It looks like the first quarter, what the recommendation will be is not to use that as a summative grading period, giving the A's, B's, C's, but really as a point in time progress report.
The Guam Education Board is scheduled to meet on Friday, October 16th. And senators moved a few more bills into the voting file during today's legislative session. One measure by Senator Joe San Agustin authorizes a public-private partnership that provides tax credits to a private sector group to rehabilitate and improve the Harmon Industrial Park. Another bill by Senator Mary Torres mandates that all incoming vessels and aircraft provide an advance notice of arrival and manifest information to the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency prior to arrival at Guam's ports of entry. And late this afternoon, senators were discussing a bill by Senator Clint Rigel that would increase transparency for salary adjustments for employees appointed by autonomous agency boards and commissions. Legislative session continues tomorrow. There's money to pay tax refunds, says Senator Jim Moylan, so pay them. He recently confirmed through a Freedom of Information Act request that GovGuam recently received more than $65 million in Section 30 funds. That's withholding tax from federal employees on Guam that's rebated back to GovGuam by the federal government. Moylan says he also confirmed that the governor used about $23 million for bond debt service, which leaves about $41 million that he thinks should go to repay taxpayers.
I'm not against paying off debt. That's a good thing. But if we're prioritizing some things, I just like to understand why. Why did we put this as a priority before paying the people of Guam their tax refunds? If we don't pay this out, I think we're going to have a situation in the near future here where this money will be gone and we're going to be wondering where are we going to get the money to pay our tax refunds for the people of Guam.
Bond debt service and tax refunds are both legal obligations of the government, but because the COVID pandemic pushed back the tax filing deadline, the government's deadline to pay refunds was also pushed back to January 15. We reached out to the governor's office for comment, but did not get a response as of news time. Due to pandemic condition of readiness 1, federal drug defendant Mark Mayo will have to wait longer to go to trial. Mayo appeared for a status hearing this afternoon before Chief Judge Francis Taidenko Gatewood. He was arrested nearly a year ago after a drug raid in Astumbo and faces charges of conspiracy to distribute meth and attempted possession of meth with intent to distribute. Mayo was prepared for his trial to begin in mid-August when restrictions were lifted, but an immediate shift from PCOR 3 to PCOR 1 has delayed the start. Another status hearing is set for October 30th. The Guam Homeland Security Office of Civil Defense reminds the community that COVID isn't the only natural hazard to be on alert for. The annual Great Guam Shakeout is tomorrow, and there's only 3 things you need to do to participate: drop, cover, and hold on. The annual drill is part of the worldwide initiative to practice earthquake safety procedures. Office of Civil Defense Public Information Officer Jenna Gamindi Bloss.
The beauty of the Great Guam Shakeout is you can practice your earthquake procedure from the comfort of your own home. We recognize that a lot of people are at home now. A lot of students are learning from home. So we encourage that family participation.
Again, the event is scheduled for Thursday, October 15 at 10:15 in the morning and will last for about a minute. For more information on the Great Guam Shakeout, go to shakeout.org/Guam. Coming up, national headlines. This is KUAM News.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Más.
Half a day. The nomination period of the 33rd Guam Youth Congress is now open, and elections will be held on October 19, 2020. Membership to the Guam Youth Congress is open to young people from all villages, middle schools, and high schools, the Guam Community College, and the University of Guam.
I've been fortunate to work with colleagues in the Guam Youth Congress who are committed to representing the voice of young people in our community. And together we were able to push for change that will prevent diseases in young people, protect the environment that we will inherit, provide help to those suffering in the shadows.
If you're between the ages of 14 to 24 and interested in representing your school or village and want to take part in the voting process, please contact my office at 989-2572 or reach out to your village mayor or school administrator. Change starts with us. It starts with you.
It starts with you.
And we need your voice in the Guam Youth Congress.
100% truck, 100% Jeep brand. The all-new Jeep Gladiator is the most capable off-road mid-size pickup truck crafted for adventure. Equipped with best-in-class towing capacity, legendary Jeep brand 4x4 capability, and backed by Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. Drive home in a brand new Jeep Gladiator today, starting as low as $283 per paycheck during Jeep Adventure Days. Call us at 477-7807 or visit our website at carsplusguam.com to get pre-approved today.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. You can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Gila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
We have just one voice representing us in Congress, one person to advocate for all of our needs and tell Guam's story to the nation. That's why I'm running to be Guam's next delegate to Congress, to serve as the kind of representative you deserve. But what does a vote for me guarantee? It's a vote for someone who can tell the Guam story, our sacrifices, our struggles, and our triumphs, and why we matter to America. It's a vote for competency in securing more resources from the federal government, not as a handout, but because we are vital to the country. It's a vote for trustworthiness. Integrity and trust are not optional when representing you. They are required. I thank you for allowing me to serve Guam before, and I humbly ask you for your vote again. I'm Robert Underwood, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. In national news, Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett spent the second day of her confirmation hearing being questioned by the Senate Judiciary Committee. Barrett defended her judiciary philosophy while declining to say how she might rule on issues related to health care, abortion, and the upcoming election. Natalie Brand has the story from Capitol Hill.
In a long day of questioning before the Senate Judiciary Committee, Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett argued if she's confirmed, her rulings will be based on the law, not her personal opinions.
Judges can't just wake up one day and say, I have an agenda, I like guns, I hate guns, I like abortion, I hate abortion, and walk in like a royal queen and impose, their will on the world.
She also sought to separate herself from the late Antonin Scalia, the conservative justice for whom she clerked.
I want to be careful to say that if I'm confirmed, you would not be getting Justice Scalia, you would be getting Justice Barrett.
But she offered few hints as to how she would rule on key issues.
Justice Ginsburg, with her characteristic pithiness, used this to describe how a nominee should comport herself at a hearing. No hints, no previews, no forecasts.
Still, Democrats pressed her about the current case challenging the Affordable Care Act.
I have no hostility to the ACA.
They also questioned her about abortion rights.
It's inconsistent with the duties of a sitting judge, and therefore has been the practice of every nominee that sat in the seat before me to take positions on cases that the court has decided in the past.
Judge Barrett would not commit to recusing herself from possible election challenges that come before the court, but she also stressed that she's had no conversations with the White House on specific cases.
I certainly hope that all members of the committee have more confidence in my integrity than to think that I would allow myself to be used as a pawn to decide this election for the American people.
The 22 members of the Judiciary Committee will have another chance to question Judge Barrett on Wednesday. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Coming up next, your birthday shout-outs. Don't go away.
Looking really good.
As a kid, your dad always taught you new things. As an adult, he probably still does. Pedro just got his very first paycheck from his very first job. The only trouble is, he's not sure exactly how to deposit his check into his account. But Dad, as usual, knows exactly what to do. Using a Bank of Guam tutorial, Dad teaches Pedro how to access his money without ever stepping foot in the bank. There are many ways we can show our love, and teaching is one. Find easy-to-use online banking tutorials at bankofguam.com or on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
The Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Guam is pleased to announce the grand opening on October 10 at Suite 727 of the Guam International Trade Center. The event marks the 109th National Day of the Republic of China, Taiwan, known as Double 10 Day.
You could upgrade to the sparkly sprinkle pack on Cupcake Conquest. Or you could upgrade to all this. 2 crunchy tacos and a medium drink. Plus, the beefy cheesy layers of the Grande Stacker Box. Only at Taco Bell.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
Happy birthday on this October 14th to Hazel Derby. Happy golden birthday as Hazel turns 14 on October 14th. That is awesome. Have an awesome one, hey, just as you are, and we love you forever. Stay sweet, kind, and humble. That's a great shout out. Good job, guys. Damien Breton, wishing Corporal Damien, who is serving overseas, a happy and blessed birthday today. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time also, dedication, and service to a U.S. Marine. Urgh! Take care and be safe. We love and miss you. Die die. From Nina Lori and the rest of the family. Hey, Matt, please be safe over there. Thank you for serving our country. We appreciate it. And Shai Jenin Avila. Happy birthday number 12. We love you so much. Say Papa, Mama, Mommy, Chris, Nino, and Sissy. All 3 of you guys. Thank you so much for what you do, for making our community awesome. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we hope you have fantastic birthdays.
And if you want to be a part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club, just register online on KUAM.com. That's our report for tonight, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please stay